Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spotlight. This is our weekly live broadcast on Wednesday afternoons at 4 o'clock, where we take a look at event organizers. We invite local event organizers and service providers to tell us what they're up to. And it is a pleasure to welcome everyone or anyone that is doing wonderful things here in Puerto Vallarta so that we can better connect with them, so we can learn about their activities and whatnot. Um, a quick housekeeping announcement. When we started doing the spotlight, we decided this would be for event organizers, people that are presently involved in producing an event, and they want to talk about an event that has a specific date. But we've decided that it wouldn't hurt to branch out and also invite service providers, or people that are doing fun, nice, interesting business things here in town, so that we can better connect with them. And we're going to have one of such businesses in our next edition, and I will tell you about that in a moment. But today, I'm very happy to see that a few friends are watching, and it is great to see that you are watching. Today, we have a local lady that I've come to admire, although she doesn't know that I do. She embodies the spirit of community. Every time I see her, she's doing something, and it's usually crazy fun stuff. And I have been wanting to connect with her in this environment just to find out more about what motivates her. And I'm just going to bring her on stage and get you to join me as we get to know Dale a little better. Hello, Dale.
Hi, Paco. Hi,
Look
everyone. Hi, Cluster. I put my reading down now. Oh,
look at you. You are knitting two needles.
yes, two needles in this hot weather. A scarf.
I love it. I love it. It is a pleasure to see you. And I'm so grateful that you chose to come on board and tell us a little bit about what you are doing this weekend. But before we go there, tell us a little bit about your origin story. How did you come to Vallarta? Where did you come from? How did you fall in love with the place? How do you pay your taxes? No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to know about that. But tell us your origin story, Dale.
Well, I've been coming to Puerto Vallarta for probably over 30 years. And the first time I came was actually when I was a student. I'd gone back to university and I saw Air Canada. I'm from Canada. They had a special on $435 for a week, all inclusive hotel and air. I went, wow, I'm going to go there. So I signed up and I went. And then Air Canada sent me a message and said that was the wrong price, but they would honor it. So, anyways, I came and it was at the hacienda down by the Crystal, and I stayed there for 7 winters when I came for a holiday. So it was quite a few years ago, like over 30 years ago, probably. And I went to other countries. I've traveled around the world and worked all over the world, but I went to other countries to see if I would like to holiday in those countries, Costa Rica, Argentina, down south, and just decided I always wanted to come back to Puerto Vallarta.
What what was it about Puerto Vallarta that grabbed you so intensely?
Well, I think it's the culture and the people. And when people say, "Oh, how can you live in Mexico? Is it safe?" And I say to them, "Where do you go in the world where everybody walks down the street and says, Buenos dias, buenos dias? Doesn't matter who they are. We all greet each other. And it's a sense of community, right?"
And at what point you live here full time, right?
I'm here right now. I've been here for almost 5 years, but I'm not quite full time yet, but kind of. And I
Aha.
just moved this morning. I handed in my keys after 3 years. So I'm sitting on my new outdoor living room. I don't have a living room in my apartment. So I'm outdoors today. So this is going to be fun.
So when you are not here, where do you go?
I would go to Vancouver. And I was born in Winnipeg. So I'm Canadian.
Uh-huh. And uh, an average of how much time you spend up north and then you start getting homesick? How does that work?
No, I don't get homesick. I love being in Puerto Vallarta. I actually hadn't left until last fall when I went on my big trip to Turkey and back. So, um, yeah, I probably should go there more often to Canada, but I haven't been a snowbird like I should be yet.
Well,
I'm
that's
enjoying
that
the full time here.
that works for me. That works for me. Do you have any advice for people that are waffling about Mexico or have all these senses of insecurity and this, that, and what do you say? Luna, not right now. We're in the middle of a broadcast. Um, what do you say to these people that have concerns about being here?
Um, like again, I always just tell them, "Where in the world can you go?" And everybody says, "Buenos dias." Like it's can be the guy with no shoes, the lady just sitting there with her baby on the street. It's just a sense of community. And, I like the climate, I like the warmth. And so for me, I like it. People were coming here because the cost of living was less. But as we know, this last year, the dollar's changing, things are changing. But, I have no thought of going back to an American up north lifestyle yet.
Okay, let us talk about what brings you to the spotlight today. Fill me in. I mean, I
All right.
already know what it is, but I want to hear it from you.
Okay. So I contacted you, and on Saturday, June 8th, this Saturday, um, I'm organizing an event. It's a worldwide event. It's called Worldwide Knit in Public Day 2024. We did it last year as well. It was the first time, but this group or this event is worldwide, and it's the largest knitting event in the world. It's been going since 2005, so next year will be 20 years, and it's always on the second Saturday of June. So next year will be June 14th, and I imagine it'll be a big celebration with 20 years gone by. And I I understand that the woman that started it brought it in because um, knitting and crocheting can be kind of a solitary happening in your home, and you could sit there for days and hours and just knit away or crochet away, as you know. And why not bring it out into the community? So that was kind of how it started, involving the community and getting to know each other. So you might show up at this event and go, "Oh, I didn't know that you crocheted, Paco. Oh, I didn't know that you knitted, Mary Jane," that kind of thing. So I believe that's why it started. And I just saw an ad last year and thought, "Oh, we should do this." And when I say we, I'm in a group here, and you're in the group as well. It's called PV Yarn Benders. And maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. But some of my friends from that group, they said, "Oh, yeah, let's do it." So we did it last year, and we're doing it again this year, Saturday, at La Isla Quali, on the island in the park, just at the bottom of the stairs, under the canopy of the big tree. So there's going to be shade. My friend Ernesto, he's a local artist. He'll supply about probably a dozen chairs. So we're asking people to bring their own chairs or blankets if they have them. It's a nice grassy area. And it starts at 10 and goes to 12. You can come and go. Last year we had people come and go. And you can see what people are knitting. People are bringing their projects, they're crocheting. And it's put on by volunteers like me. The event's all over the world. And when I say all over the world, like countries from Australia, China, England, Finland, France, South Africa, Mexico, Ireland, Dubai, Sweden, USA, Canada, from all over, they celebrate this on this one day. And
That is
I read a little bit earlier today because I didn't know this, but when it started, it was a week-long event. And in 2014, it changed, and it's now just a one-day event. So 2015, I mean, it changed to one-day event. So originally, it was a whole week-long event. Wow.
this is amazing. So this is going to happen on Saturday from 10 o'clock in the morning on at La Isla, correct?
Yes, at the furthest east end, at the bottom of the steps that go up to Gringo Gulch, there's a big grassy area with a tree there. You'll find people there. Also, it's for men, women, anybody. You don't have to knit or crochet. You can just come along through what we're doing, make some new friends, tell some stories. I'm also trying to work on getting a singer, a local singer, Ari, to come with the guitar and maybe sing a few songs for a bit, but I haven't confirmed that yet.
Oh, how fun. Well, if you don't get a musician, maybe we can all take turns singing or something.
Sure, I can do that. To have like a bonfire sing along without the
I,
bonfire. It's
I
hot
actually,
enough.
speaking of bonfire, well, it's not a bonfire, but I did send Luna. Okay, you wouldn't know this, but while you were talking, Luna decided to come on top of my lap, and I'm sitting here trying to fidget my cat, and now she's decided to go away. But I did put Luna to work earlier today, and I found some photographs of last year's event. So I would love to do a little bit of show and tell. I remember when you announced this last year, I was not able to attend, but look at this. And one of the first questions that I had is, those look really comfortable, those chairs. Where does one get one? And I'm happy to see that there's going to be a certain amount of chairs available. This is really wonderful. Here's another photo
Yeah.
of a happy
And
bunch.
that photo was the women in the back was a mom and her two daughters, and when we were there, they were sitting on a blanket and having a picnic. And we found out one daughter, she really loves to knit, and the things she made were amazing because her mom was wearing a shawl that day. So they joined us for a little while. So that was exciting.
Oh, that is awesome. And then I remember you were also last year, you were doing a photo op at the little horses on the
Yeah,
Malecon. And look at this. So
yeah.
you went and did your photo, and then you all walked over to the isla, and that's how it went, or how did it work
Well,
out?
it was the reverse. We were out at Isla, and I said, "How would you guys like to come down to the arches and sit on a pony, and we'll get our photo taken?" So a few of us went down there, and hence that photo, which was a lot of fun. So I'll probably bring it up on Saturday as well to see if anybody wants to go down. But it is going to be very warm on Saturday, so we'll see what happens. But it'd be fun if it was a yearly thing because they're right there at the ocean, and it's kind of cool, I think.
So take us back to last year, and tell us what it was like for you to all saunter together to the Malecon, and you got on the horses. What was people's reaction to that? Do you
Um,
remember?
Actually, there weren't a lot of people around that day because we had to scout out somebody that we could give our phone to take a photo. So I remember it took us a bit to do that. But when they did see us, they were smiling and, laughing and smiling kind of thing. And anyways, it was a good photo op, I thought, right? Where in the world would you sit on a rocking horse at the ocean and knit? So,
You
yeah.
know, it is so nice to do things for the sake of doing it, and I'm so happy that this get together is simply to celebrate something that one enjoys doing. But I know that you have done all kinds of empowering projects through PV Yarn Benders, which is the local hooking group. And by hooking, I mean, people that engage in yarn, whether it is crochet or embroidery or knitting. Tell me a little bit about Yarn Benders.
Okay. So Yarn Benders is PB Yarn Benders. We named that a couple years ago, and it started by two of my friends, Mary Jane and Marlene, in 2020 and of January. And they posted, I think, something about who wanted to get together to knit, kind of thing. And then we formed a group, and there was like less than a hand or about a handful of people that got together, and then it just grew. And as of today, we have like 152 members,
Yep.
and the members often can be full time or they are snowbirds. And we have men and women that are in PB Yarn Benders. We also have people from all over the world that are in Yarn Benders, and they come from Chile, Canada, U.S., South Africa, Namibia, sorry, Namibia, Namibia, and the Netherlands and Mexico. So those are the people that I know that are like in our group here. Physically, we meet once a week. So we're just from all over. It's a diverse group of knitters or hookers, if you want to call them. And it just kind of keeps growing. We've got a little resource on our Facebook group for different things where you can buy yarn and stuff. And people ask questions all the time, and we respond to that very quickly. A lot of the knitters are experienced, but then there's some beginners as well. And so with Saturday's event, even if you don't knit or crochet, come along. I'll have some extra needles and some wool. And if you want to give it a try, I'm sure one of us can help you do that. Otherwise, with YouTube these days, that's also a good resource. And our knitting group, like I said, meets once a week. Right now, we were at Roberto's for the winter. And as of this Thursday, we always meet on Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock. And this Thursday, we move indoors for air conditioning at the Seasons Restaurant beside the Intercamp Bank on Achilles Dam, just over the bridge. So we're meeting there for the next few months there for the air conditioning. And we also, as a group, it's just voluntary, how do you say, voluntary, that we often knit items to donate back to the community. That's a big part of what this group does. Actually, I've got a few samples if you want to see some of them. Would you like to?
Yes, 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 yes.
Sure. So we often make blankets, beautiful blankets, crocheted, knitted, and I go out into the community and find places for the items to go to. They actually call me the knitting pimp. I pimp them out. So I hope I can say that on this group. But so we get blankets. We take them to babies at the hospitals. We take them to the seniors at the DIF Center out in Copanoli. I've walked into the church and noticed women that were cold when I held their hand and I gave them blankets or men. And we also give blankets to the kids with cancer at Kanakub and the women from Grupo Banu, that the warriors that have to go to Guadalajara for surgery because it's cold on the bus. And when they get to Guadalajara, it's a little bit colder. So for Grupo Banu, it's a breast cancer support clinic. One of the biggest things we do, and personally, I don't crochet them, but we make prostheses, which are breast prostheses for their inside their bras. And I think we made almost 200 now that we've donated to them. And
Wow.
Mary Jane and I were at an event around Mother's Day, and every woman received one. And they really like them because they're made out of soft yarn. It's a special yarn. You can't just make it out of any yarn. It's very specialized, and they look like little breasts, and they're all different colors, and they really like that as well. And then the scarves and hats we make for them as well, the women, and also for teenagers that are, well, kids 8 to 18 with kids with cancer. And just recently, I suggested that we start to make scarves because they had a request for scarves, but make scarves where we're representing soccer teams. So the colors of soccer teams. So the kids will kind of identify with that probably, right? So hopefully
Oh,
we'll
that
get some
sounds like
scarves like
fun.
that in the fall. Yeah, that would be kind of fun. And
Now,
then we make, oh, here's a little hat and scarf set that was made. And here's a different kind of little hat someone made.
I love it.
And we make baby hats and other little blankets for babies.
Oh,
And then we have a really special project that we work with at the regional. It's called the Mariposa Project. And unfortunately, it's for moms whose babies have passed away and were stillborn. And before they would get whisked away. So they've created this room called the Mariposa Room. And we were invited to be a part of it as our group. And they make a remembrance box for the parents. And in the remembrance box, some of the things that we donate is um, we made little mini blankets and very tiny little blankets. And we make them little tiny micro hats. They're very tiny, these babies.
oh,
And we make them little booties. Their legs are very small. And they actually wear these if they want when they're in the room, and they put them on their baby for a photo. And in the box, they get some information, resources, and they get a birth certificate with their baby's footprint on, which they would never have gotten before this project. Um, and then they get the hat and the booty. And like I said, when I saw them just having photos with the hat and booty, I'm like, we need to give them blankets so they can cuddle them in their blanket, right? So we've been doing that lately. So that's a really cool project. Another project at the regional hospital that we're pending is, I'll just show you, but I'm also going to be taking these to other groups, maybe autistic. These are little octopus.
Oh my
Um,
God.
and there was a study done in Denmark and other parts of Europe. And what happens is these are therapy toys for the babies in the incubators. And these little tentacles are like the umbilical cord. So the babies actually grab these and it's therapy for them. And it helps the doctors and nurses as well because they're not grabbing their cords then and they're grabbing this. And it's a touchy feely thing. So I also thought it might be good for some autistic kids as well. So that project is pending because of the election and different things. So we'll see if it goes through, but we've given them some samples and we'll get some feedback from the nurses, coming forward. So these are the little octopus. And there's lots of studies in Europe and how they've been very beneficial. So that's something we've been working on. And this month, we're helping, we did it the last couple of years. We help Roberto Solis Garogo School. It's a CAM school, children with disabilities, blind, autistic, deaf. And in June, it's Helen Keller's birthday on June 27th, and they have a parade and they have an event. And for this event, they knit squares and they make large banners. And last year I promoted it, and there was a big parade, and the banners were all over the vehicles coming from the school to the Malecon. And we participate by making these squares. And you can knit them or crochet them. And this year I have, oh, where did you go? Oh,
I'm here.
oh, you're there? Okay, I don't know what happened to the screen.
Oh, you froze, which is really funny, but can you hear me? Oh no. Something happened. Oh my goodness. I was so ready to ask all these questions. Dale, where did you go? Come back. Come back, come back. I hope you're not gone. Oh my goodness. I hope you didn't run out of batteries. I was getting ready to ask all these questions. I am going to hope that Dale will rejoin us in momentarily, because let me send her a message through Facebook chat and make sure that she is still here. You froze, but I'm still here. She was broadcasting with her telephone, so my hunch is that she may have run out of battery, but we are going to hope that she can rejoin us. I'm going to fill in a couple of blanks. Oh, you are here. Well, I can see you. Dale says, I am here, but I don't see you. You're not showing up as you're not showing up as someone I can bring up on the stage, and I don't know what to do about it. Let me suggest that you try to go to the same URL address that I sent you, Dale, and see if that allows you to get back in. Meanwhile, I'm going to kick you out, which I hope doesn't do this permanently.
Can you see me now?
There you are.
Okay, here we go. I don't know what I did, but here we are.
Whatever you did, don't do it again, because I was getting ready to ask so many questions. Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to tell you about this project, the Helen Keller Day. So they make these squares, and this year I asked the group if we could make 5-inch squares. They can be, they're tactile, because of the feeling with the kids with autistic and blind, and so we're in that project, and we're working on that this month. It's all volunteer, but we do get a lot of projects going on. Last year, I just want you to know that BV Yarn Benders, they donated 654 items to the community. And I go up as far as into the mountains, up into San Sebastian and Moscatos and stuff. So there you go, a little bit about PV Yarn Benders.
You know, I one thing that I haven't heard you mention and that I want to ask about, because one of the reasons why it's difficult for me to participate more closely with yarn benders is because the meetings take place at the same time as I'm broadcasting coffee and headlines in the mornings. But then there's a monthly afternoon get together as well that you haven't mentioned. Um, is this still going on?
Yeah. So we meet, like I said, we meet Thursday mornings regularly every week, and then on the last Monday of the month, every month, we meet from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m. And we meet at a restaurant. Usually, the last few months, it's been the restaurant beside La Comer, and it starts at 5 o'clock. So on PV Yarn Benders Facebook group, the events get posted, and people can sign up saying whether they're going or not able to go. And so that's how people can sign up.
And
Is it still going? Well, we hope it does. There's still a few of us, or not myself, but some of our members that are working in the community, and they
Mhm.
enjoy going to the Monday night, once a month meeting.
And for people that may be wondering about this, PV Yarn Benders can be found on Facebook. It is a private group, so you need to ask to be allowed in.
Yeah,
And once you are, it is very easy to find out about all these activities and whatnot. And the best way to look for it is to look for PV Yarn Benders. Now,
that's
I do have a question. You know, first of all, I am so grateful of your generosity of information. Those of you that are watching should know that before we got started, I was checking in audio and video with Dale, and I asked her, "Well, I want to know about all these other volunteering pursuits," and and then you said, "Well, I just want to talk about yarn benders," and then all of a sudden, boom, you went unleashed, and I loved it. So I have, aside from boundless admiration for everything that you're doing, I do have a loaded question, and I hope we can discover something important here together. And this has to do with the fact that both you and I are people of a certain age living in Puerto Vallarta. I don't know if you work for a living or if you are retired. I know that I work for a living, or at least that's what I say to Luna. But I wonder how you feel all this activity that gives you so much purpose on any given day influences your level of happiness living here in Puerto Vallarta. And,
um,
and to
as
put it
far
in a
as,
different way, do you think other people of our age would be happier with their lives living here in Puerto Vallarta if they were involved in so many nurturing pursuits as you are?
I think that's individual, right? Because me, volunteering, it's been something I've been doing since I was a little girl, and I love to volunteer and help people. Like I said, I've lived in other countries, third world countries, and volunteered and worked and always helping people. And it just fills my heart that in this community, I'm able to do the things I can do and go meet people. I've met amazing people, nationals here, and um, it's it just fills my heart. And when I run into somebody in a restaurant, an owner, and she says, "I was just talking about you," and I'm like, "Oh, what?" And they were wanting me to help her employee with a daughter who was having some alcohol and drug issues, and they wanted me to help them, and I'm like, I don't speak very much Spanish, but you know what, I was on my WhatsApp and I was connecting them with people right away because I've met so many amazing people volunteering in different aspects. And I guess the first big volunteer thing I did, if I'll tell you a little bit, was during COVID when I was sitting in my, I call it my motel. I was the only one there and only one allowed to be there. And I was by myself for like 3 months, except for the few workers. But I was sitting on the steps of the pool and I was knitting, and I was knitting face cloths. That's all I could knit. I'm not a really fantastic knitter like you are, crocheter. And I had the ball of wool here, and I was knitting as I was sitting in the water. And I'm like, what am I going to do while I'm sitting here? What am I going to do with all these things? Anyways, so I found out, somebody contacted me, and a lady had some domestic violence, and they asked if I could help her with some things. And so I took that on. And then one of the things was I went, oh my gosh, I can give this lady a face cloth, and I'll take a bar of soap and I'll wrap it up. And I made these cardboard hearts. And in Spanish, they said, um, open up or wash your soul and let hope enter. And then in my mind, I said, okay, my project's going to be called Casa Esperanza. This is all happening like in 10 minutes in my mind. And so I started doing that. And then the lady that asked me to help the domestic person, she got me in touch with the prison, the women's prison. So for 18 months, I was at the prison helping those women in different ways because their families weren't allowed to visit them, but I was, and I was bringing them, toiletries, sometimes food that they weren't normally allowed to have, like fruit because it's sugar and stuff. But and bringing them different projects to do, art projects and all kinds of things. So yeah, that's just one thing that's really dear to my heart that I was able to do. And a little story about Casa Esperanza project. I went back and found out the lady that I was helping, the domestic violence person, her name was Esperanza. I couldn't believe it. So
Wow.
yeah.
Here's an important question that popped up. Does yarn benders accept yarn and needle donations?
What a great question. We buy, a lot of us that live here will buy our yarn here, but if we get access to go home somewhere to Canada, United States, wherever, Chile, we often bring yarn back. And we do have people that contact us and they donate yarn to us, and we really appreciate it. And so we'll bring it to the month or the weekly meetings, and we'll share it, and everybody gets excited. And yeah, we love it if people can donate yarn, because we do it all on our own, and it costs us money, but we're proud to be able to do it. But it's nice when you get a yarn donation. Actually, we also make dolls, and we showed this one lady that joined our group, Carmen, dear Carmen. She's 85 last week. She was here from Mexico City, and we showed her how to make dolls. And after about 2 weeks, she came back with a clone doll. She came back with Dale doll.
Ay, mi vida. I love it.
Purple glasses and the hair and everything. So,
I love
but
it.
this was made with some of the yarn that was donated.
This is
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
There's some beautiful comments that I'd like to put on the screen. Albert thinks you're amazing. Joe says your energy comes through in this interview.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see. Sherry says all the things Dale is doing are very special. Um, Joe, again, you and your group are so special. Thank you for what you do. Betsy says you are so well organized. This is so wonderful. Are we missing anything? Is there something that we haven't talked about, Dale, that is really important for you to convey?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention about the size of the group that comes out weekly. Right now it's low season, so there'll be like maybe 8 people around the table when we're knitting every week. And at the Monday night one, there might be 5 or 6 people there. But during the winter, last winter, we had up to 24 people, and we meet at Roberto's outside on the patio behind the Naval Museum. And so we like had 2 long tables of people. We're like, wow. We started with a handful of people a few years ago, and look at all these people joining us. And we've sat in one restaurant where we used to go for air conditioning. We actually had a young man, he was probably in his 20s, and he was enthralled by what we were doing. And he came up to us and he said, he said he wanted to learn how to knit. So well, I took out some needles and stuff, and oh, it was so funny. And at that same restaurant, I have to tell you this quick funny story. I bought some yarn in Oaxaca, and it was just a mess. The skein had gone all over. Well, one of the employees, he was so sweet, one of the young guys. He was back in the kitchen with my yarn all the way to our table, and we were trying to unscramble it. And he knew how to do it because his grandma taught him. So we're like, this is so much fun. And he was so helpful. We actually ended up getting a ball of yarn about that big.
That is
So
wonderful.
yeah, and I can't say enough, about PV yarn vendors. We're just a fun daytime group, and anybody can join. And we hope that you crochet or knit, or if you don't, we can probably help you along. And I know you come out sometimes to the group on the Monday night, so we love that you're there. And I guess I could say, if we're going to end soon, that there's a slogan with the Worldwide Knit Public Day, and it's better living through stitching together. So that's what this event is about on Saturday. It'd be great if some of you can come out and you just want to say hi or sit there. Hopefully I'll have a little music going on, but I'm still working on it. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I am so grateful for all this wealth of inspiration and information. Um, Even if people don't like all of a sudden wake up and say, I'm going to crochet, at least I know that a few people will be inspired to connect with community here in Puerto Vallarta, thanks to your work.
Oh, thank you.
Let's summarize just for my own sake and for everybody else's. Yarn Benders meets every Thursday morning, the first Monday evening of every month,
No, the
and
last Monday
of
of
the
the month.
last Monday evening of every month. And this Saturday, the Worldwide Knit and Crochet is at 10 a.m.
Yes,
at
correct.
at the Isla Rio Quale, right by the stairs that go up to Gringo Gulch. Bring your own chair, bring your own blanket, or if you get there early and you're lucky, there will be some chairs provided. Maybe music, maybe not, but lots of camaraderie. Am I
Yeah.
missing anything?
No, I don't think so. It sounds good. Thank you for having me. And I just want to say, all the people out there in the community that I visit and we take all this knitting and stuff, they're just so grateful. And it's just very humbling. And I met a lot of friends through, doing all that too. And being able to share stories with them and hearing their stories, especially with the babies. And yeah. Anyways, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Dale. I will ask permission to pre-record Saturday morning, and if I can, I will join you on the island. And if not, I may try to sneak out there a little later. Thank you so much for all this time and information.
Thank you. That'll be wonderful. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye, Cluster.
Bye. And that was our dear friend Dale, who I met on one of my walking tours. I remember because she looked familiar, and I'm like, oh, that's right, that is you. So it was absolutely wonderful. I don't want to take much more of your time. I have a couple of quick announcements to make. First of all, I will. Oh, what did I just do? There you go. First of all, tomorrow is my music appreciation presentation on the most popular classical music pieces as determined by ChatGPT. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to unpack 10 classical works at the Joint, and it'll be a lot of fun. So if you have nothing else to do, tomorrow at 5 o'clock, it'll be air conditioning. It'll be really wonderful. I won't play you my little promotional video because I play it every morning at Coffee and Headlines. But then I also want to let you know that a week from today, we are going to welcome to the spotlight brothers Lam and Sean Yuen, who opened a holistic clinic here in Puerto Vallarta. The clinic is called Satisana. They have been living their lives as digital nomads for 10 years before settling in Puerto Vallarta. Their mission is to awaken our mindfulness to see the roots of our issues and address them through a variety of alternative therapies and treatments. So they reached out to me and asked asked me if we allowed service providers as well. And I didn't know that they actually have an event coming up, but we will find out more about that later on. But all that I am happy to say is that if you are a service provider or a business doing interesting things that we should know about, knock on our door. We are all about making connections and nurturing connections, and particularly connections with individuals that are doing extraordinary things like Dale is, and like I'm sure other people are. And this brings us to the end of today. As always, I am grateful for your support. I am grateful for the fact that you're spreading the word out on the spotlight and these fascinating interviews that allow us to learn more about the people that live here in Puerto Vallarta and to be inspired by them. I will sign off now, but not without thanking you for your time and telling you that I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning for Coffee and Headlines, and a week from today for another edition of the Spotlight. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you soon.